Good morning, everybody. It's Ace of Trades. It is Tuesday, March 24th. The Bible says in the book of Isaiah, chapter 48, verse 22, "There is no peace, saith the Lord, unto the wicked." So just when you happen to see some favorite movie star or rock star or politician or otherwise die and some famous person, everybody's wishing them rest in peace and all that stuff, just know that if they're wicked, which means all being wicked is dying apart from trusting in the Lord Jesus Christ for your salvation, then they're not actually resting in peace, unfortunately. So on the chart today, pretty simple so far. We've got overnight highs here, overnight lows I put here, and from about 3 o'clock we've got two legs down. Then you get this bar here trying to fade. We're bouncing off the EMA right now. So we'll just have to see what happens here, of course, as I always say. I don't see any trades at the moment right now. And the bars are kind of big. You can see now these lines are 5 points apart. So now they're 2 points apart. So, this little bar here, if you're going to decide to grab that for some sort of rebound off this two leg down, which I typically don't. I wait for the higher low. You got 2, 4, 6, probably about 7 points of risk there, if not more. So, you just have to watch your bars again today. And I don't really see, I would not want to be trying to go short here because you've got two legs down already, and I don't really see any clear trend. This to me looks like it's probably trying to reverse right now, but you just want to pay attention to how it reacts to the EMA. But I would think that off these two legs down, you're going to get some kind of try to push higher here, back up into the range. Okay, so we were down in here. We get these odd two legs up. I drew this wider channel. It seemed got a nice reaction off there. Then it fits pretty good off the bottom. Once you get this, and then you push this all the way back up to the other side of the channel, I would just be careful taking any shorts. You don't really get a setup here anyhow, but you just want to be careful until this starts pushing back down, because this did not come down to the other side of the channel before it's already coming back up to the other side of this trend channel. So that might indicate to you that the push down is weakening. So you just want to be careful about what you're taking here, especially with prices again trying to fade this overnight low. This is always a tricky area when you get stuff like that. So yeah, I don't see anything there. And also, I'm going to show you this. Avoid these things. These trades I talk about. These guys will get trapped on all the time to trade these micro setups. Look, here's a first attempt. Here's a second attempt. And what these guys will do is they will put their order right here thinking they're trapping the longs, which in this case, that's what that happens. But you will lose on these a lot. These will end up failing on you. It'll push down a little bit, because sometimes what's happening is you're selling into a buying level here, and so maybe they're not seeing this correctly. And also it's a weird kind of area too, right into these lows. So in this instance, that sort of trade ends up working, but you can see how far in these wicks, how far this pushed back up against you. And sometimes what will happen is, I mean, this will just push up, wick you out, and then go. So these are very poor trades to try to take, because again, you are in a short-term trend. You can see it here. I'll draw it for you. So you're in a very short-term trend. Remember the fractal nature of the market. So what you're basically doing here, here's your trend down. Here's your short-term trend. Okay, you're basically shorting, right here. And sometimes the steeper these get, then the more enticing they are, but the more dangerous they are, because the steeper they are, then the closer you are to the bottom of that trend channel. So prices are often going to want to bounce off that trend channel and work up. Now, if it is an actual trend channel, it may work for you, but because it won't come up as high as before. But um, these are not the kind of quote unquote reversals that you want to try to take, or even these are more of guesswork than anything, in my opinion. And the ones that work, they'll get marked on some guy's chart, and the ones that don't work, they'll just be overlooked, and the quote unquote chart lesson will move along. And the trade you're looking for that you're wondering why did I get stopped out, the person won't even talk about it, like it's not even there. So anyway, this is really like a no trade zone. Now you're just kind of you're finding a little bit of support here, and this could collapse and go down, but this wider channel is very ugly and probably not even at this point real to me, unless this again reestablishes, pushes down here, and then maybe you can find something. But typically, when you get these super wide channels that you see people draw, these are not very good for taking trades off anyway because they're way too large, um, to find stuff. So if you're waiting for prices to come down here and then come back up here, you could very well, because of the size of the trade that you're trying to take versus what somebody else, or versus the size of the channel, you could very well just get stopped out on some, you know, static near the end of the trend channel, and then it'll go back down. So very difficult to trade off these larger channels, despite what you see drawn. They're more of like guidelines as to be aware of where swings may happen rather than to actually take trades off of. So just wanted to talk about that. All right, I want to talk about a couple areas here where people may have gotten trapped on patterns. And I just actually noticed this here. I was talking about this as a failure, but I can see where maybe somebody was trying to read this as an uptrend. That mean it looks to me it looks very weak, but somebody may be just looking for this push up, and then they see this first move higher, and then when they see this bar, they think, this is maybe going to push up now. But if you understand that you draw your move here, you've got two big legs down, and you got your move here, and then so this is just the second leg for this move. Um, and once you understand that, you're not looking for um, I guess a retest of the second leg. I wouldn't take this anyway because it's how ugly it looks with when you get just a little wicking up here and then this immediately collapses down. I'm not really interested in that anyway. It just looks very trappy now when you see that stuff. But if you follow the price action, you get your leg up here, and then you see it starting to move up. Now, once price eclipses this, you've got, you know, basically this move up has made a new high, and so you'd be concerned about prices trying to go lower here. Again, I'm not going to take something like that because you never, when bars are this stacked up like this could just who knows, this could just chop sideways for a while, and you could get trapped in and out of that trade, and then maybe it pushes up again because once in a while these second legs will, push up a little higher. Maybe this is starting to form a range. You just never know. Um, so, if you got trapped there, I mean, this, you know, if you want to call this a trend, this looks very weak with all these weak bull bars here. And then you have this is actually the second leg. So if you follow the rules about the legs, you don't want to go long anymore after the legs play out unless you get, you know, uh, price action. I call it resetting. So like here, now you're pushing back down. You got these two legs up pushing back down. You would be kind of looking for a short. Nothing really sets up for you here. Um, it's just one big leg back. If you got two nice, legs that went like this and pushed down a little bit and then pushed back here, two clean legs with a good setup on off the EMA, I'd be okay with that because you are kind of expecting prices to have this wider channel, so you're thinking possibly we're going to get some push down here, um, but this doesn't give you anything. It just pushes back up into this area. It gives you an ugly bar. and now this pushes down. It does make a technical new low. It looks more like a double bottom to me because of how it bounces there. So, you get some people just, like I said, they'll get trapped on these very, very near term moves. They'll just look at this as a trend and totally ignore that this move down has played out. Um, and now they'll see this little bar here and they'll see, oh, first attempt, this could be my second attempt. This I don't even see these anymore as something that looks tempting because I've just followed the price action and this move down is played out. But you can see people get trapped on that, so that's why you wouldn't, because this move down has already played out. So once we've played out, we're done looking for shorts at this point until price action resets. So this little pattern trade here, you wouldn't get trapped on once you if you're following the rules. Now it takes a while to see the stuff so that you can follow the rules, but once you are able to see the bigger price action that's going on, then you can follow those rules and not get trapped on these little patterns when prices are trying to actually push up. So now we got this. Now it looks like we have this push up here, and perhaps we've got a trend going up now because I'm not real concerned about this little push out. You want to follow it. If we get a couple nice legs here, we can, we can look to maybe take that. So we got, we're pushing up here. We hold the EMA there. So I'll be kind of just watching this trend now that it appears that we're trying to reverse. So this is no good anymore. I just put that up there, and once we dot this double bottom, I took that off, but I just keep it on here for the video. But I'll be taking that off now. We're not following that anymore. So it looks like potentially you've got this trend moving up now. So we'll kind of watch that. All right, but I just want to talk about this here. So you see we have this trend up. This is a rather big break, or it appears to be because of how it waterfalls down here. But let's look here. Just do that for now. This looks like a pretty decent trend. So that's only about a 50% correction. Now, what's difficult here is that I'm not, because of how choppy this trend is, I'm not sure it's mm, not 100% sure it's necessarily valid and will retest. It looks like it will, but um, this could be played out off this break potentially, and maybe you're going to get here's a trend down, first attempt, second attempt. However, because this also looks pretty decent, I'm not sure that it won't play out. I wouldn't. So what I'm saying is, I would not, um, I would not go short or long at this time. This is too spread out for me. This price action is too spread out to go long on this to try to take a new high. But I recognize that there is a trend here and it may retest. And so if you are looking at a short pattern, like, oh, I have a downtrend, I have a first attempt, here's a second attempt, you may get trapped here because this may actually be trying to make a new high. So what you've got is you've got a smaller competing context against a potentially larger one, uptrend wanting to make a new high. And so to me, there's just you can't take any trades here. If this goes down, and we haven't seen that it will, but if this goes down retest, then obviously it looks good in hindsight, but you don't know that until it happens. So um, it's just something I've come to recognize over time. Excuse me, over time. To me, there's just no trade here because of I'm not unsure about what's going to happen. I don't know if this is going to play out or if this is kind of done because of how weird and choppy it is, or if this is going to play out. So you could get trapped here trying to go short if this wants to play out. So I'll just point that out. So I wouldn't be trying to short here, even though um, if this were like if you actually had two clear legs playing out or a trend that broke and made a new high, then this looks like a pretty good setup here. But I'm concerned this trend may try to play out to the upside, and you can see that if you had ticked in there, you got trapped. Um, That's what I would be thinking, as I would be thinking this trend is going to try to play out, or that's my concern. So, but I also recognize it's kind of choppy, um, so maybe it won't. But so I guess long story short is when I see stuff like this, there's immediately just no trade for me until, like I said, the price action resets. So anyway, we'll just see what happens now. Okay, we've moved quite a bit here. So I think last time I was talking, we were in this area here. Not sure if this was gonna push down or go higher, make a new high, and so I said I really wasn't sure which way to go. So we end up getting, but anyway, I had this move drawn, and then I pasted it here and put it up there, and let's see, then we run into this measured move. Um, and it just, we get there in an odd way. Like after we get to about here, I'd consider this potentially played out and you'd be looking for something to reverse. And so when you get this, you might be looking for prices to reverse because you can see how this is played out now. However, they just zoom higher and then you get, so at that point, I would probably be, I think for probably a section here up into this, I wasn't here, but just tell you what my thoughts would be is I would probably be just uncertain as to what's happening because I was expecting a reversal here. However, we hit a measured move, but it's off a very strong push up out of all this chop. So I'm not really not certain what I'd be doing here. What I might think is that, okay, we hit a measured move. Maybe we are going to get a reversal down now, and we don't really. You get a lower high, it makes this another leg down. I'm not necessarily looking for some sort of long here because of this move being played out. Um, and now it looks like this makes one attempt, two attempts to go higher, and now maybe we're getting the reversal. So let's see if we get a stronger push down off this measured move level. Sometimes things don't reverse right away, like immediately once you hit into these levels. Sometimes the people sending it that way will try for a little bit longer. I'm not sure what happened now that we've got all of a sudden these bars printing, but I think you'd be safe in looking for a short at this time. Let's see what we get here. Since this is printing quickly, we'll just kind of watch it. And so I'd be looking at it like this. Let's just see. Sometimes these do weird things. You'll get this like V recovery. Like, what's it doing? You don't know. So you just don't do anything. So we just stay out of it now. Whoops. With it printing quickly like that and doing this V push up, I'm going to stop the video here because now I'm not really looking for anything. I'm just waiting to see if I can get information to tell me what prices are going to be trying to do. All right, it's been a little over an hour since the last update. So we were in this area, just got a bunch of chop, not really much to talk about here. Couple legs down, push back up, choppy, choppy, makes a new high. But I don't really see any structures here that you're really playing, so this all just really means nothing to me. And then finally we get this reversing down. Not much of a break, but you can see it does kind of go sideways here and push down to a new low, push up, and you know now we're pushing up even higher. So really hard to say what's going on here. I don't know if this will make you might see this come down more and maybe you get some other sort of leg down here or something. But as far as like this particular thing is played out now and pushed back up. So just kind of trying to see what develops. I don't usually draw super wide channels because they end up not being very relevant unless to my eye I can see clear tests of highs and lows, and I don't really see anything here. can't really draw anything off here. Maybe that. I don't know. Maybe keep an eye on that. I don't know how that fits up top. So I guess perhaps there might be something there. Let's just give that a different color. Who knows? Um, you don't really see anything consistent off the top. Keep in mind also that you're overall we're in a range. It's a range day, so um, be very careful about. You'll see people like mark stuff. It'll come back down here and then bounce again. And if people mark that as a trade, you can't take those as trades. It's just way too wide and unreliable for the short-term price action that we're looking at. So um, really don't know what's going on here right now. Maybe this is something because this kind of held right there after we pushed down. We're pushing up again. So um, I don't really have any inclination actually what's going to happen here. When you're in a big range like this and prices are just kind of swinging around as they proceeds further, short term's kind of difficult to predict until you get to clear levels of support and resistance, which you do not really have any that I see on here. It's just kind of finding different areas and bouncing, and so just kind of time to sit on hands until we see something. Okay, we have some time passed here. Really, I just see prices chopping around. I don't see anything actionable. Um, Made this leg down. We just bounced right back up, and then we kind of made two legs down here, and then chopped sideways, and then right off this bar, it just dumped down. So I've got one big leg down. I've got a second big leg down. I've got these two legs down. I'd be very careful about shorting right now. This move down has broken, made a new low. Um, so I'm not saying it won't continue to kind of chug down here. It looks very weak, but with the trends played out, and if this is a wider channel, you're at the very bottom of it, so you want to be careful shorting now. Um, let's see what else. Anything else? I don't think so. This off this just looks like one leg to me. You'll see some people short this as a lower high, but again, I think after this started dumping like that, I had this drawn, so I'm very careful about shorting into the bottom of a potentially larger channel. Um, so yeah, that's the update for now. There's not a whole lot going on here. So be back again later. Okay, it's almost 2:30 here. I'm gonna do a little updates. We were down in this area last time. Um, I was talking about the price action today. Um, so we started chopping sideways here. I put this little range on here at this point, and then we get this spike down, and we started to get this second leg. I was hoping to get something here. I thought with this being chopping here, that the price action was kind of um, done, at least done with temporarily to the downside, and I was hoping I'd get a nice setup down here away from the EMA, but it didn't do that. It gave me this ugly bar here right into the EMA. Then we just started pushing up here, and now I don't really think this water channel is anything. So I'm going to remove this, because if you leave structures on there that really out of play, then it kind of clutters up your chart and can get you to have bad reads. Honestly, I don't really know what's going on here right now. We just get this choppy move up, we get a choppy move down, and then we get two legs up. So I don't really understand what's going on here. Maybe in some fashion you have a one leg up here, and then maybe we could paste that and see if you get a second leg up, but I don't see any clean structures that make sense. Maybe there's a trend here like that. This is nothing I would really try to play. Yeah, it's really ugly. if you could call that a break, 2 legs up to not quite a new high. There's just nothing really going. It's very messy right now as prices chop around. So I'll be back again later if I see something develop. All right, let's just talk about here with 15 minutes to go about what's going on. So we got this move up, kind of choppy trend, break. It does push up into a second leg here. Um, Probably about this point, once we fall off here, I need to start looking at this as maybe more of a range. So I drew this on here. The lows are kind of consistent. You see there, and then down here, we get 2 legs up, back up into this area. The highs are not very consistent, but it is what it is. And so we get this leg up. You have this lower high here, but there's a very strong trend working up that's holding both sides very well. So you don't want to short into that, potentially get bounced out of there. Um, so we push down and we just kind of chop around here. There's not a whole lot. I put this down here as like 2 legs down, this and then this, but this moved down so well that I was looking for 2 legs here on this correction, but you get this green bar right into the EMA and it dumps, so you get no setup there. So if we have time left, what I might be looking at here is if we get back down into this area, get real far away from the EMA, and we get some kind of higher low or something. If this will just fall down into here, we'll have to wait and see. But that's about all we're gonna have maybe time left for as far as a trade play for today. We'll just see if something like that might happen for us. But yeah, there's not. It's very choppy, and nothing clean is setting up again today, unfortunately. So that's just you have that sometimes. Okay, everybody, just gonna wrap it up for today. So we got this ugly break, and then we push down here. We're down here around the lows, but we didn't get a very good type of price action to get there. We what you're looking for is something like this, where you just get bar after bar after bar, just closing red down into this level so that you get far away from that EMA. Well, this just kind of chops around here very slowly. Green bar, red bar, green bar, red bar, green bar. So it's just allowing the EMA to just casually follow its way down, and you never get very far away from it. So, plus it's a minute till 4 o'clock here too. So, just gonna wrap it up for today. Not too many good setups, lots of choppy price action. I was looking for something here, couldn't get far enough down away, couldn't get a good setup to get back. But that's the kind of stuff that you're looking for is clean moves. And when you get something clean, it just went into chop and stuff. Almost had something here, but this didn't finish very good. And then green bar right into the EMA, and then we just come down. So Um, sometimes you just get days like that. Sometimes you get, a few of those days in a row where it's very difficult to find anything that looks really good. Sure, there's places you can take chances, in different areas, but taking chances is not what I'm trying to do. Trying to find good, actionable setups that I'm pretty confident are going to be profitable for me. So, and that's what I'm trying to show people watching this channel as well. So I will just see you again tomorrow.